Hello and welcome to English and More with me, David. You are in the right place. You are watching the right video or listening to it. If you would like to speak better English and if you would like to understand why some English speakers, like me, say some of the things that we say. Of course, language is not always logical. It does not always make sense. So sometimes we just have to accept that we say some things the way that we say them. And we will look at some of those things in this video. You are probably an intermediate English speaker, which means you can understand everything that I can say. You are my ideal target audience. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for this tab, my ideal target audience. You are the people I am aiming for. I think I can offer you a lot of value if you are an intermediate English speaker, if you are maybe at the B1 lower intermediate level or at the B2 upper intermediate level. Perhaps you're a C1 English speaker, English learner, or even a C2 English speaker or English learner, which means you're proficient or advanced. If you're at the B1 level, you can understand everything that I have said so far. If you're at the C2 level, you understand everything that I am saying, and you can tell me what I am saying wrong or what I will say wrong, because we all make mistakes. Never try to speak perfectly, always just try to speak well. Never try to lose your accent, always just try to speak clearly, and never learn in silence. Always read everything out loud or read everything aloud. Say everything so that you can hear it. Say it, well, first read it, which is saying it at the same time, and then hearing yourself say it. That is the best way to learn. Never sit there just reading the words on the screen or on the page. Rather, pause this video, stop this video temporarily, pause the video, and say some of the things that I have said out loud. Parroting, right? Some people call this parroting or shadowing. Does parroting have two T's? I don't know. We all make mistakes. Please have patience with me. Bear with me. Have patience with me if I make some mistakes. That's totally natural, and you should also feel comfortable making mistakes if you are learning English. If you are a native English speaker or a first language English speaker, in other words, English is your home language, you are probably not the ideal target audience. You are not the ideal target audience for this video, but you can stick around. You can stay. You can keep watching. We will talk about some interesting vocabulary. We will talk about some interesting topics. Maybe you enjoy it. Maybe you are an ESL or an EFL teacher, English as a second language or English as a foreign language. Maybe you are also just a first language English speaker and you're interested in some of the topics that we will talk about, and also you would like to brush up on some of the phrases and vocabulary items that you could use. So to brush up on something means basically to remember it, to revise it, to practice it, just to check what you already know, to revise what you already know. So if you would like 3 new vocabulary items, hopefully these are new for you, or maybe you know them already. To bite the bullet, this one is quite funny because remember, with most idioms and with many phrases, they are not literal. They are figurative. Figurative phrases, we mean what we say not literally, we mean what we say figuratively. So figuratively speaking, he bit the bullet. And what did he do with this phrase? Let's look at it. He or she didn't want to get the injection, but he or she had to bite the bullet and get it over with. So biting the bullet is something you do not want to do, but you do it because you kind of have to. You kind of have to. And again, this will irritate, frustrate, or annoy first language English speakers because I am pausing a lot to say things like, what did I just say? I've already forgotten. You don't want to do it. Did I say that? I hope so. So wanna is want to, something you don't want to do, something you don't want to do. You don't want to get the injection, but you have to bite the bullet and do it anyway. A good example of this would be like when you have to spend money on something you do not want to spend money on. A new computer, if your computer is broken, a new mobile phone, if it's time for an upgrade. And for the lower level English speakers, let me be very clear. I said if it's time for an upgrade. So if it is time for an upgrade. If it is time for an upgrade. If it's time for an upgrade, you have to bite the bullet and do what you don't want to do. You have to spend money to fix the car. You don't want to do it, but you have to do it. The reason I said this one is funny is because last night, this is totally true, friends came over, they visited, they came over for dinner, and one of our friends literally bit a bullet. Literally, he really did, in reality, eat food here, and in the food was a small bullet, or at least a piece of a bullet. Now, I did not prepare this, so let me tell you what I'm talking about. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now you can see all of my search items. That's not my search item. Okay, these are not my search items. These are Nike Back to the Future shoes. Yes, because I spoke about films with my clients over the past week, during the past week, and one of them was, can you guess? I'll try to remind you later. I'll tell you later. Okay, so we looked for biting the bullet, and my friend bit a bullet in some meat, and the meat is venison meat. Very tasty wild meat from, this looks like a deer. In my country, we call them buck, springbuck, or waterbuck, or blesbok. That's not English. That's Afrikaans, bok. The Afrikaners say bok. So we were eating some of this meat, and the hunter used a gun to shoot a bullet at the buck or the deer, and a piece of the bullet was in the meat, and my friend literally really bit the bullet. He did not figuratively bite the bullet, although I'm sure recently he has had to bite the bullet to buy things that he does not want to spend money on because he has 2 kids. So surely he has done both things. He has figuratively and literally bit the bullet. Has bitten the bullet. I bite things, I bit things, and I have bitten things. My cat has just jumped onto the table. Let's see if she will join us. All right, so there is your first vocabulary item: to bite the bullet, to do something you don't want to do, figuratively, normally. Okay, and to exacerbate means to make something worse. A situation, a problem, some kind of conflict between 2 people, like an argument. So if you exacerbate something, you make it worse. Here is the example. His angry remarks only exacerbated the tension in the room. Tension, not a great atmosphere. It feels bad in the room. So the situation was exacerbated. Okay, and I live in South Africa where we often get gale force winds. Luckily, we have not had a gale force wind for a while, but it's a very strong wind. And here are your typical speeds. 39 to 54 miles per hour, miles plural, because there are more than just one of them. So miles per hour or kilometers per hour, 63 to 88 kilometers per hour. The gale force wind tore branches from the trees and knocked over signs. Tore, past tense of tear, ripped off the branches from trees. A very strong wind. Okay, just a quick reminder that if you would like a free resource, you can head over to my page, my website, my webpage, and you can click on the free ebook tab. It will take you to a second tab, an external link, and you can enter your name, your email address, and follow the next steps to get the free resource. There are 5 different tips for grammar and sentences and how to say things, and I think this will be really helpful to anyone who wants to improve their English. You are learning English, so this will be helpful for you. It will subscribe you to my email list, and then I can send you the documents from every week, the spreadsheets from every week. I can send you the latest weekly spreadsheet. I will send it to you in a PDF format, not an Excel or spreadsheet format, but a PDF format, and it will be really useful for you to have. Why? Because I want you to read everything out loud, and this is a handy or useful resource that you can read out loud. What did I say there? A handy resource. It is useful, so use it. Subscribe to the email list. You will get the free PDF, the free ebook, and then every week's PDF of the spreadsheet. Notice that I said every week's PDF. So I will send it to you if you are subscribed to the email list. And please, of course, support the channel by liking the video and subscribing on YouTube. All right, let's move on to some of the things that my clients said in the past week or during the past week. The A column is what they said. Don't read that column, rather read column B, because column B has the corrected sentences or the corrected phrases. Suggested corrections, because I might be wrong from time to time. So let's do 6 of these. This is the first client, this is the second client, and in total there are 4 clients' feedback items, or rather a selection of their feedback. They received a lot more feedback, but this is the selection. So let's look at some of these feedback items. The first one, our relationships is very good. This person was using a plural noun, relationships. So our relationships, they are very good. If he meant one relationship, he could have said, our relationship is very good. One relationship. That's fine. It is very good, or they are very good. We were speaking about films. One of my clients said one of the best film, but you will always have one of a plural. One of the best films is The Matrix, because there are many films and one of them is The Matrix. Life is like a box of chocolate. And it's not wrong. if the box only has one big piece of chocolate in it, but here you probably have many smaller pieces of chocolate. So life is like a box of chocolates. Do you know where that's from? Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, what you are going to get. If you're going to quote from a film, you better quote correctly. So life is like a box of chocolates. Okay, the next client said the start of the film is very slowly, but slowly is an adverb. I walk slowly. That's how I do something. How I do something actively. The start of the film is very slow. The start of the film is not doing anything. It's just doing something without trying. It's very passive. Can I say passive? Not very active, soft, gentle, automatic. So over here, it would be much better to say it is very slow. The start of the film is very slow. Boring. I cannot remember which film that is. The first tile, interesting. So this client used a word that probably is a direct translation, or if you're American, translation. If you want American English, a direct translation of a word from their language, and they meant scene, the first scene of the film. So the first section of the film that looks like something is happening, that's the first scene. Then you go to a second scene, and yes, my cat is walking in front of me right now. Do you see the tail? I saw the tail. Thank you, cat. Can you please move your tail? Okay, let's try to make this work. Thank you. The film Tricks is very good. She's gone. So, of course, Tricks is plural. The film Tricks are very good. They are very good. Or you could say the visual effects, they are very good. That's great. If you want to use is, you might need to look for a different word, like the cinematography, which is different. It's not the same as visual effects or film tricks, but you could say something like the cinematography is very good, because then you would be saying it is very good, but that's not the same as the visual effects. And I think that's what this person meant. Not the tricks, the visual effects. My cat is going to jump back onto the table, so please, once again, bear with us. Have patience with us. Animal problems, technical problems. Could you please move on, cat? Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the first article that my clients and I looked at last week. We looked at many articles. This is one of the main ones. My cat is now drinking water from my glass of water, or if you're American, my glass of water, and that means it's now her glass of water. You enjoy that, cat. You enjoy that. So what can Hollywood movies teach us about business? A whole lot. A lot of information. This was not the best article that I have ever used for English classes or English lessons. My clients did not really have strong opinions or even any opinions about this topic. One of the clients spoke quite in depth about The Big Short. So I think this is the film year. Yes, The Big Short. I think it's a 2015 film. It was made in 2015, a 2015 film, and the client was very happy to speak about that because the film is set, wow, lots to talk about over here. So, unplanned vocabulary. It is set in 2008 when the global financial crisis hit. When the global financial, probably spelled wrong, yep, crisis hit. And my client remembered it very well, and he is a little concerned that it is going to happen again. So that was useful for that client. I also remember the film. I think it's a pretty good film. I really like the fact that one of the main characters, one of several, one of the main characters is a drummer. He drums. He's a businessman and a drummer. And I quite liked that addition to the film. Is that right? Addition? It looks right. Okay, great. So we spoke about The Big Short, and other clients spoke about some of these things. For example, it's interesting that business films have changed over the years, or from generation to generation. At different times over the past 50, 60, or 70 years even, films about business have had different attitudes and different approaches to business. So if you look here, for example, movies from the 30s and 40s, 1930, 1940, and in that time period, they are characterized by, they look like, they show us something, they are characterized by turmoil, chaos, difficult times, disorder, and fear of the future, skeptical, not very believing in. They do not believe in big business. So that was almost 100 years ago, and every generation has changed. So yeah, in the 50s and 60s, it's about, business films are about the difficulties or the struggles of business. Businesses are battling. They need to make money. So you see things from the business person's point of view. Let me just talk about that quickly. I just said the business, give me a second here, business person's point of view. Now, some people might still say, like, the businessman's point of view, because that's what people said forever, businessman. But now we have businesswoman, so it is nice to use gender neutral words like business person, fireman, fireperson, policeman, police person. So those are more gender neutral. Okay, so there is quite a lot of nice vocabulary from this article. If you want to improve your English, read everything out loud, read it aloud. So you can pause this video, just press pause. You can come back to it and then read this article out loud. And then you can head back to the spreadsheet. You can go back, you can go to this tab. What can Hollywood movies teach us about business? A whole lot, films plus business, and you can read some of these vocabulary items and the example sentences. So to point out, the professor points out that movies can shape our understanding of business. So to draw attention to something. Quick pause, I'll be back. When I remember what to press for the pause, I remembered, I'm back. I just had to get some tissue to blow my nose. All right, so to point out, I want to draw your attention to something. I want to point out that this video is already getting a bit long. So let's move on. If someone is ruthless, they are cruel. They do not have compassion. They show no pity. Gordon Gekko is an ambitious yet ruthless stockbroker. Stockbroker, someone who trades shares on Wall Street. Ruthless, wants your money, but will do anything to get to the top. Will do anything to get to the top, make a lot of money, get promoted, and be rich. Ruthless businessman. Let's move on. A classic. Films can be classics. A classic song, a classic film, a classic sports match. 1996, South Africa won the World Cup. Nelson Mandela was there. Is that the year? 1996? I'm talking about rugby. I don't watch rugby anymore, but I do remember that. Okay, so let's look at the example. Citizen Kane is considered a classic in cinema history. A classic in cinema history. I did use the word turmoil earlier. The Great Depression was a time of economic turmoil, a state of confusion, instability, or disorder. Nice word. What is the consensus? There was a consensus in the 1950s that the future looked bright. Everyone agreed. General agreement. Not a trivial matter, or, oh, that's just a trivial matter, not very important. The issue may seem trivial, but it actually affects many people. Dystopic, nice word. Dystopia, dystopic. Some 1970s films presented a dystopic view of business, like a nightmare relating to an imagined oppressive or miserable society. Really not perfect. You are trapped. You are stuck. You do not have freedom. It is a dystopia. Okay, if you are cynical, I might be a bit cynical. Margin Call offers a cynical view of Wall Street. So Margin Call is the name of a film, and it makes us look at things cynically. So believing that people are motivated by self-interest, so you do not trust people. So I have a cynical view of politics. I don't think that politicians really care. They're just doing their jobs and saying what they have to say, which makes them filthy rich a lot of the time, which is a little crazy. Politicians should not be filthy rich. They can be rich, but not filthy rich, extremely wealthy. McJob, this was new for me. I had never heard this one before. So some workers fear being stuck in a McJob with no future, like McDonald's, a low-paying or unfulfilling job. I really wish I could show you my cat. She is once again drinking the water. Can you see her? I think you can. That's not for her. That's for me. Typical cats. Typical. That's what they do. They do what you don't want them to do sometimes. Okay, where are we? I think we have done enough vocabulary from this article. Remember, you can get the PDF document of this spreadsheet from me. Then you can read the article. Then you can read the vocabulary all aloud or out loud. Pause the video, come back for pronunciation, and move on through the rest of the content. The stuff in the video. Now, this is a very general word, yeah? So, general, have I spelled that right? No? Wow, that's terrible. General stuff in the video or in the email or wherever. If I said the contents of the drawer, that is more specific. So the contents of the drawer, the contents of the box. What is in the box? Oh, whatever. Chocolates. Okay, let's move on. So I just want to quickly talk about a very useful way of speaking about time. Like when? When did it happen? Yesterday. Okay, when yesterday? Well, it happened last night. It happened last week. It happened last year. It happened last weekend. But we wouldn't say last afternoon. We would say yesterday afternoon, or yesterday morning, or yesterday evening. Remember, English speakers will say some things that are logical, that make sense, and sometimes it's just because that's how we say it. That's how we say some of these things. And this is true here. These are the conventions, the habits. This is just what we say. The conventions. Get used to them. Get used to them. Learn them. This is just what we say. We also say things like, earlier today, I went for a walk. This morning, I washed the dishes. This afternoon, I exercised. This evening, I worked in the garden. Tonight, I had dinner. or tonight I will have dinner. Late last night I drank coffee. Bad time to drink coffee. In the early hours of the morning, I got up for a snack. I don't do that, but some people do. At around midday, we usually have lunch. At noon, the sun is at the highest point in the sky. At dusk, let's look at the example. The street lights turn on at dusk because it's getting dark. At dawn, just before sunrise, he runs every morning at dawn. A lovely time to be outside, dusk and dawn. And that is a Quentin Tarantino film, From Dusk Till Dawn. Is that right? Dusk? Yes, during the nighttime, from dusk when the sun sets till dawn, until dawn. Yeah, that's a nice one. So some people say till dawn. What they of course mean is until dawn. So we just shorten the word until. So until becomes till. From dusk till dawn. Am I right about that? From dusk to dawn. Oh, I see till. That's looking good for me. From dusk until dawn. From dusk till dawn. Quentin Tarantino film. Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. Too violent. Not my cup of tea. It is way too violent for me. Okay, moving on. Where were we? We can also say things like the night before last, 2 nights ago, or if you want an American accent, the night before last, the day before yesterday, a couple of days ago. You're not being very specific here. Earlier this week, not very specific. A few mornings ago, how many? Does it matter? And then several evenings ago, not very specific. So I think these ones are the most important ones to learn because people get confused about when to say last night compared to yesterday night. It's last night, but it's yesterday afternoon. So just learn those things. Okay, please remember that you can get the 5 easy fixes free ebook from me. Head over to my website and subscribe or get the free ebook. I will send you the free ebook if you click this button, and I will send you the weekly PDF, the weekly spreadsheet if you click this button and complete the steps to sign up to the email list. All right, let's get back to some content over here. The suggestions, the second round of suggestions. They almost doesn't use it. Well, they don't. So it could be they almost don't use it, but this person meant to say they almost never use it. How often do you use it? Almost never. Basically never. Not a lot. What could happen? You should say what could have happened. You could also say something a little differently here. You could say what could happen. But that, of course, is different. What could have happened is in the past, whereas what could happen is in the future. It was industrial area. It was an industrial area. Okay. One mountain, which are in the middle of the country. That's easy. It's one mountain, so it is in the middle of the country. One mountain, which is in the middle of the country. Asia countries, not bad. Should be Asian countries. South African men. Lots of countries change into an adjective just by adding an N. Asian, South African, Mexico, Mexican, Canada, Canadian. Okay, a bigger change, but you just add the N, and not all countries change in the same way when they become an adjective. This is okay. You have to pay some money. Sure. Grammar is fine there. The grammar is fine there. But this person meant to say a fine. You have to pay a fine as part of a punishment, as part of your punishment for whatever, speeding. I have paid many speeding fines. not because I like to drive fast, but because the speed limits change in different areas, and sometimes you do not see the speed sign, the speed limit sign. So I have paid quite a few speeding fines. Penalties, nice. Also a nice word, penalties. You have to pay because you have done something wrong. You are paying a fine. You are paying a penalty. All right, let's move to the final article for today's video. This video has gone on for a bit longer than I planned. The 100 best movies of all time. How can we possibly talk about the 100 best movies of all time in a short space of time or in a short time? We can't. So I'll just mention a few that I can remember. One that I remember from one of my clients is Jurassic Park. I remember it because I was very young when I watched it, and it was amazing because I was only, how old was I? 11 years old when I watched this at the cinema. And my clients, some of them are my age, and they also remember watching Jurassic Park. And it was a completely new experience for us. We'll never forget it. The same is true for Back to the Future. Many of my clients spoke about Back to the Future as one of the films they will keep watching again and again and again. They loved this film and they will keep watching it. For me, it's okay. It's not the best film ever, but yeah, it was a really new type of film and really enjoyable back in the day. Back in the day in 1985, a long time ago. Okay, there are so many films over here. I think one was, is it Shawshank? The Shawshank Redemption. This was a really big deal for a lot of people. They spoke about this. This is a no, it's not. I thought it was a Steven Spielberg film. No, it's not a Steven Spielberg film. I'm wrong. But yeah, they spoke about this film, lovely film, and lots of films. So if you are interested in films, do read through this article. Number 4, The Dark Knight. Really? Is that number 4? I saw this film recently. It's okay. Is it the 4th best film of all time? I don't know. I would not agree. The Godfather, Star Wars, yeah, that belongs up there. Some of my clients spoke about Star Wars. What is number 1? Lord of the Rings. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Great trilogy. So I said fair enough. It does make sense. It's a fair assessment, a good decision, and also it was part of a trilogy. 3 films. Well, 3 films, and then another 3 films, and another 3 films. Is that right? 3 trilogies? I have forgotten, excuse me. But here is the vocabulary from the article. I had to look this one up. Needle drops. Don't worry about that one. This was new for me. I'm probably never going to use this word. So, some films have stood the test of time. The greatest films still stand the test of time. They will always be popular. For a long period of time, they will be very popular. Now, in my country, we sometimes say to withstand the test of time. It doesn't matter. You can say both. To stand the test of time or to withstand the test of time. Let's move on. There are so many great vocabulary items that you can read out loud or aloud from this PDF document. I like this phrase, a dark horse. Readers shared their dark horse contenders. A dark horse is a little known but strong competitor. The Dark Horse. There's a podcast called The Dark Horse Podcast. Pretty good, in my opinion. Ooh, a heated discussion. Not quite an argument, but close enough. Our list is a pretty darn decent rundown. Pretty darn decent? No, that's not what I meant. After much heated discussion, we settled on the list, a passionate or intense debate. So that was a heated discussion. Everyone had strong opinions. Okay, let's move on. A feel-good movie. that seems pretty obvious or quite obvious. A film that leaves audiences happy and uplifted. Paddington 2 is a feel-good movie. Lots of feel-good movies are out there. I don't really watch those for some reason. Ooh, a cult classic. We have already said what a classic is. Donnie Darko is a cult classic. Great film. Loved Donnie Darko. A film with a dedicated fan base despite limited mainstream success. Great. Okay, let's look at this one. A Fish Out of Water. If you don't feel like you are in the right place, you feel like you are a fish out of water. Someone in an unfamiliar situation. Hot Fuzz, great film. Hot Fuzz is a fish out of water comedy. It's very unusual. You really don't know how to think about it or what to think about it. It's a bit like a fish out of water. This is usually when you don't feel like you're in the right place. You feel uncomfortable. You are like a fish out of water. You can't swim. You can't breathe. Okay, let's look at this one. A Tearjerker, a film that makes you cry. It's pulling out your tears. It's making you cry. It's a tearjerker. And, okay, The Gold Standard, E.T., extraterrestrial, alien. E.T. remains the gold standard for family films. Every family film looks at E.T. and says, okay, we need to learn from E.T., the best example to compare others to. All right, this is the longest English and More video so far. I don't know why it's slower than usual. It just is. If you would like to support the channel, please give it a thumbs up, this video, a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You can check out my books over at Amazon.com. Permaculture Made Me Do It, or Ease the Squeeze. If you would like English sessions or English lessons with me, we can talk about what is in one of these books or both of the books. I think you will enjoy the books. If you buy them, if you read them out loud so that you can hear yourself reading them. That is the best way to learn. Never learn in silence. Head over to englishandmore.co.za, get your free ebook, subscribe to the email list. You will get the document, the PDF document of the spreadsheet, and you can read everything out loud over there. Okay, goodbye for now. Ciao.